a sustained operation where it would be a crash site securing an investigation, looking to, as you would expect from our FAA partners and Transportation Safety Board, we would all get together and assess that crash site, what caused the incident, what happened. That can take upwards of 30 days at times. This particular exercise was a crash site that was simulated over water. That can add to the complexity of these investigations. So the initial response that you saw today, that would be a very small part of the actual overall scope of an incident like this.
Probably take the NTSB upwards of a year to do an investigation, complete investigation like this one.
Well, we would do that internally at the Air Force, but we would certainly rely on the expertise of our partners in the National Transportation Safety Board. But we have a very robust accident safety investigation capability within the Air Force and teams of experts from all over the world, but certainly rely on FAA input, Coast Guard input, Transportation Safety Board input. But it is a comprehensive investigation that takes time.
To help you a little bit, the NTSB would only work with civil, not necessarily military aircraft, unless called upon to help.
Do you have civil here?
That would be our aircraft.
Okay. Does this set you up now for doing something bigger and better in the future? Or it's too early to even think about that?
In terms of exercises?
Because Lieutenant Kroll was saying this is, as far as he knows, the biggest exercises of this kind since the Air Guard base opened in 1998. So I wonder whether this sort of sets the stage now for something even more elaborate as you go on in the future.
I'll hesitate to say that we'll do something bigger, but I've already reached out to folks in Portsmouth, Virginia, who I answer to, and folks in Washington, D.C., who I answer to as well. So the magnitude of this is based on how far we simulate the breach, and this is about as big as it would get. So this is pretty substantial.
Yeah, well, we do a series of major accident response exercises. We call them MARES for short. And as we alluded to before, we have a semi-annual requirement to do these. Our scope of our accident response varies broadly. We've at times simulated a civilian airliner crash where we mobilize our entire base emergency network to respond to a civil incident like that. So the scope of these, I think, is dependent on the area of which we want to exercise. As a wing commander, I'll choose a opportunity where I think is either a weak area or an area we haven't exercised, and I have a staff that will design an exercise, much like Captain Mingo's team put this exercise together. This was good for us because we were able to come to an area where we haven't integrated in a couple of years and say, let's focus together. So we learn a lot by working with them, certainly working with the FAA and coming together on how we respond locally to that. But our scope varies depending on what we're trying to do. It can be very large, quite a bit larger than this, to individual training, such as Captain Mingo's fleet has been out supporting us on training events, just routine pilot extraction from the water. Or over the summer we had an incident where they came out and supported us, where they had helo lift, where we had our entire pilot cadre go through getting hoisted out of the water. It's excellent training. That in its own scope is an exercise that we participate in. We're able to garner a lot of good training out of that. So it's a great relationship, and it's great to have them nearby here, and certainly allows us to do things otherwise we wouldn't be able to do.
You were talking about the multiple agencies. We have the Coast Guard, the Air Guard, FAA. We have the SJTA firefighters, is it?
Correct.
Would that be it? Anybody else I'm missing?
Sounds like it to me.
I believe so, Captain. I think that's it.